Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Short week Thursday, and all of our guests today, including John Shannon from 100% Hockey, standing by, sponsored by Passant Motors. It's May Days at Passant, and they want to make sure you love your ride. Check them out at Passant Motors, BASANTmotors.com, and find a ride you will love. As I said, John Shannon joining us now from the 100% Hockey podcast. John, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Happy Thursday, boys, by the way. We are live.
As always, we are live, which isn't always the case here. Hey, John, just before we get into last night's game, ratings, NHL ratings, you're Mr. Television, down in the U.S., is this about market size in regards to the four teams left, one of them being Canadian?
No, I think it's the fact that there have been so many Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's, by the way, ratings in Canada are way up, so so that's the balance of it all. What was fascinating for me was they had a spectacularly good rating on Saturday night for Winnipeg at Dallas for that Game 6 on ABC. So that's a positive out of this. But I do think that with the hockey being as good as it is, you have to point to the fact that U.S. markets, when you measure a Toronto-Florida game or an Edmonton-Vegas game, you only get measured in the United States in one of those two cities. And so I think that's a factor.
Yeah. Okay, so 6-3, big comeback by the Dallas Stars. 5 unanswered third-period goals for them. Was that third period all about Oilers' penalties and what they were doing on the PK, what Dallas was doing on the power play?
Yeah, I heard Bob earlier. I mean, I think there's obviously some frustration there, but 526 of 3 power play goals. You just can't. That can't happen if you expect to win. There's a combination of discipline with the penalties, and then last year in the playoffs, the Oilers allowed 4 power play goals all postseason. 4. And they allowed 3 last night. So I think that gave you an indication of where the team's success was last year with special teams, and this year it's been 5-on-5, which is kind of ironic.
Well, John, the Maple Leafs are out again, and Brendan Shanahan's talking to the Islanders. What do you do with Marner? What do you do with Tavares? I mean, there's so many questions. What are your thoughts on what is going to happen in Toronto?
Oh, what's going to happen and what I want to happen are two very different things.
What do you want to happen?
Go with both.
Well, I would not. I would find a way somehow to get an asset for Marner between now and free agency. In other words, trade him so that if he does go to free agency, and they know that he's going to free agency, that they can at least get a draft pick so he can sign somewhere else for the 8th year on a contract. I think John Tavares, I think we saw it in the Florida series that he's just too darn slow now. He's been a great player in this league for a long period of time, but his role is changing, and I think the Leafs identified that over the last 2 years. And so I think he needs to find a new place to play as well. Even if it was a tremendously huge hometown discount, I'm not sure I would sign him. And then here's the most outrageous one. And I've talked to a few people in the hockey world about this, and they do agree with me. I think they have to consider trading Auston Matthews.
Wow.
This has been too long in futility with great players to go on any longer. And with what is going on in the front office, you're right. What's going on with Brendan? We don't know what's going on with Brendan. His contract expires at the end of June. What's going on with a change in ownership of the company? Rogers is going to have a majority position soon. Something has to happen. They have to re-engage with the fan base. in many ways, guys, what is going on in Toronto and the dissatisfaction of the fan base here is very similar to what's gone on in Vancouver.
Yep.
There's a great deal of frustration. And it's one of the few times I think that Vancouver fans and Toronto fans can identify with each other. So to me, things like that have to happen. This has to be, in my opinion, a drastic change to recapture what this team means in Southern Ontario. Brad Treleavy's got a tough job ahead of him.
Oh, boy, it's going to be a fun summer to see what happens there. Hey, we haven't talked to you since Adam Foote was named new head coach of the Canucks. Your thoughts on, staying in-house and experience and getting in a coach that doesn't have experience at the NHL level as a head coach?
I think there's a comfort factor between Patrick and Adam because, as we mentioned last week, Rick and Adam were joined at the hip through the whole 2.5 years. And so Patrick, in his discussions with Rick, always saw Adam around and always had ability to discuss things. I think you do have to put a little bit of Quinn Hughes confidence in Adam Foote in this. And now I think the big question is how does Adam surround himself with some veteran coaches to manage the power play, to manage the forwards? That to me is a big part of this. And then hope that, number 40 can return to some glory. Thatcher Demko can stay healthy. And then the next 24 months, they can find a way to appease Quinn Hughes and stay.
Yep.
John, 100% hockey. You recently had on, I believe, this week, Marty Walsh, head of the NHLPA, as a guest in the PA and the league. I understand are involved in CBA talks. Are they getting along? And secondly, is there any talk of a change in the playoff format?
No thought in the playoff format, and it's a non-starter, Donnie.
Yeah, okay.
It's a non-starter with the commissioner. So I don't. If somebody brought it up in the room, I think Gary would shut it down right away because he loves this format, and in many ways the format has proved to be pretty accurate. As far as harmony between the Players Association and the league, I think both sides would agree. And we had Gary on, 2 weeks ago talking about it, and he's never seen it better. And I think Marty is one of those guys that believes in, and he's got a career in labor negotiations, and believes in you'll get more accomplished by getting along than not. Yeah. International hockey's at the top of the list for the players. They haven't announced it yet, but the deal for Italy for the Olympics is done. There's a few things that need to be worked out between the IOC and the IIHF and the players and league. But from a league players perspective, they're both on the same page with that. They've already come to agreement on 2 World Cups over the next 6 years, which is a positive based on the success of 4 nations face-off. So there's a lot of positives going on. And as the business grows, I was at the league for a 5-year window, and Gary mentioned in one board meeting that one day will be a $2 billion business. And everybody around the table said, wow, $2 billion. This league's at $7 billion now. $7 billion business. And it's only growing. And that, to me, is a big part of why the harmony between the Players Association and the league has continued.
And it all started when you were involved with the league, John.
Yes.
No, hardly. No, I spent money. I didn't make it.
Thanks for this.
By the way, I am going to, when you finish with me, I am going to go back to my television and watch Czech because I want to hear about Donnie's Toronto Maple Leafs story.
Well, it's actually Rick's story, and it has to do with golfing. So you can put 2 and 2 together there.
Well, no, but the boys were at Devil's Pulpit yesterday.
Yeah.
What's the big problem?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a great golf course, by the way. It is a great golf course.
That's our tease right there. Perfect.
Right there. Tease.
Thanks for this, John.
Always a TV guy.
Stay tuned.
A TV guy, boys.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Rick's got some heat coming. John Shannon.